Okay, students, let's go ahead and pray. Jesus, we thank you for another day that you've given us. We thank you for Truth Class. Help us today as we learn more about organisms and how they get their basic needs. We thank you and praise you for all that you do. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 10 in our book, please. Let's turn to page 10. Now, we've learned that there are two things in an environment. What are those two things? What are those two things in an environment?
Living things and
let's raise our hand. Let's raise our hand. Tell me one thing.
Living things.
Living things and non-living things. What do we call the living things? Oh, we gotta raise our hand, please. What? Organisms. What do we call that? The part that's non-living? Yes, sir. Environment. That's right. Give me an example of a living thing or an organism. Give me an example of a living thing. Teacher. All right, very good. What else?
Animal.
Animals. Right, good. Good, you got it. All right, tell me an example of a non-living thing. Yes.
Or glass.
Glass, all right, very good. A dead bug, but it's still an organism because it was once a living thing. All right, very good. A house, very good. Pigeon.
Log. Log. Rock.
A rock, okay, a rock, very good. Yes, sir.
Chair.
The chair, good, you have the idea. Living and non-living things. Last one.
Soil.
Good, soil. Now, all living things have three, what? Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand if you know. Yes, sir. Basic needs. Tell me one basic need.
Water.
Water, good.
Food.
Food. Air is a part of the food that we eat, okay? Protection. Water, food, protection. Or food, water, and protection. Now, when they get their basic need, what is that called? It starts with an R. When they get the basic need. Or where do they get their basic need? Yes, sir. A resource, that's right. So they have their basic needs, food, water, protection. Where do they get them? That is a resource. Or how they get them, that's a resource. All right. Now, do all animals and people, do we all eat the same thing? No. No, we have different things that we eat. Why? Because our bodies are different. So different animals get different food in different ways. We're going to read about that. So how do they get their food? And then some animals, they work together in a group. Because if they were only by themselves, just one, they would die. So they need to work in a group to protect themselves, to get the food that they need. Okay, so some animals have to work together in a group or a partnership, or maybe we can think of it as a friendship. So let's read together and how these animals get the different food that they need. I will read first, and then you go ahead and read. I will choose you, so you be ready, and you got to read nice and loud. Okay? Yes, teacher?
Yes, teacher.
All right, let's go. Ready? All living things need food. Can we follow along as I read? Page 10 at the top. All living things need food. Plants need light to make their own food. They collect light with their leaves. However, plants have different ways for their leaves to get the light they need. Some plants that live in places with little sunlight have large leaves. The large leaves help the plants gather more light. In places where tall trees block or stop the sunlight, some plants climb up the taller plants to get to the sunlight. In rainforests, orchids or flowers often grow on the branches of tall trees. This allows the orchids to get the sunlight they need. Okay, so the first organism they talk about are plants. Okay. Now, can plants run away to go find their food? No. Do they live in a house and put food in a pot on fire and cook their food?
No.
No, okay. But how do they make the food that they need? Okay, let's raise our hand if we know. Yes. They use the sunlight. What else? Yes, sir.
Water.
Water. Okay, sunlight, water. There's something else. Yes, sir.
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide or air. And all of those things mix together and does a chemical reaction inside the leaf called photosynthesis. Let's say that. Photosynthesis.
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 Now, photosynthesis, that's a big word. The word photo means light. Synthesis, to make. So, to make from light. What are they making? What are they making? Food. They're making food from light. So, that mixes together and it makes sugar or glucose that the plant uses for food. Now, there's something extra they don't use. And they let it go through the stomata. What is that?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. But oxygen is important, right? Who uses oxygen? People.
And animals.
And animals. That's right. Everybody do this. And then let it out. What did you breathe in?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. What did you breathe out?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. That's right. So the plants are helping us, and we are helping the plants, right? So that works we work together to help each other. Now, all plants need sunlight, right? Yes, teacher?
Yes.
All plants need sunlight, but there are plants that live in the jungle, and on the floor of the jungle, it's really, really dark. Not a lot of sunlight gets through the jungle. Only the trees at the top get all of that sunlight. So how do these leaves on the bottom get the sun? No, they die. They live in the jungle. How do they get the sunlight they need? Christina? Well, how do they get the air they need? How do they get the sunlight they need?
They climb up the tall tree or the plants.
Mm-hmm. Good. In the jungle, those trees get super, super tall. And on the trees, sometimes plants will grow and grow and grow around the tree so they can grow up to the top where the sunlight is to catch the sunlight. It will grow on the side of the tree. Can you understand? There's another way that plants in the jungle get the sunlight they need. It mentions it in your book. Can you find it? Look in your book on page 10. How do some plants in the jungle get the light they need? Who can find it? Some plants crawl up the side. Okay, yes, Jihae.
These to get animals.
No. You almost got it? Yes. Yes, their leaves are really, really big. Who's seen a movie maybe about the jungle? Maybe anybody seen a movie? The Jungle Book, okay? The leaves on the bottom of the jungle, they're really, really big. And so the bigger they are, the better they are about collecting sunlight. Okay? So big leaves can collect more sunlight. Can you understand that? Yes, teacher?
Yes,
All right, very good. So they either grow up the side of a big tree or they have really big leaves. That's how they can get their sunlight. Let's continue on. Who would like to read? Go ahead, Chaeyoung.
Animals do not make their own food. They get their food by eating plants or other animals. Animals that are food for other animals are called prey. God has given animals different
Characteristics.
characteristics to help them get food. Some animals, such as
Hawks.
hawks and foxes, can move very fast. Their speed allows them to chase and catch their prey.
Okay, now, are animals like plants? Can animals make their own food
No,
inside their bodies?
no.
No, they cannot make their own food. So they have to do what? They have to go find their food. They have to find their food. Now, do all animals eat the same food?
No.
No. Okay, tell me a name of an animal.
Fox.
A fox. What does a fox eat? Maybe fish.
Berry.
Okay. Berries.
Other
What?
animal.
Smaller animals. Okay. Well, how about a bird?
Fish.
Does a bird?
Fruit. Insect.
Okay, maybe insects,
Fruit.
caterpillars, fruits, berries. Okay. They don't eat the same thing. So, would a fox and a bird have the same mouth?
No.
No. The small bird maybe will eat seeds. And the fox, he eats sometimes meat. So the fox, he needs what? What kind of teeth? Sharp teeth. He needs a big mouth and sharp teeth. But if this little bird only eats seeds, does he need big teeth like the fox? No. His mouth is much different from the fox's mouth. Why? They eat different foods. They don't need the same mouth. So this bird, its body, what it eats, those are its characteristics. Say that word, characteristic.
Characteristics.
The bird's characteristics are much different from the fox's characteristic, correct? Much different. So because they're different, they eat different foods, and they'll have different ways to eat their food. Now, do you eat worms like a bird?
No.
No, okay? Maybe we might eat seeds, but do you eat bugs? Do you eat insects? No, okay. So you wouldn't have a mouth like a bird, right? Because you eat, what do you eat? Tell me something you eat. Spaghetti. She likes spaghetti. Tell me a food that you like, Christina. Think about it. What food do you like? Caesar?
Pig.
Ah, pig meat. Yes.
Pig legs.
Shabu shabu. All right. What else?
Pizza.
Pizza. All right. What else?
Steak.
Steak. Chicken. Okay. Now, if you had a bird's mouth, could you eat steak, Daniel? If you had a bird's mouth, could you eat steak? No. Okay. Could you eat chicken if you had a bird's mouth? No. God made your body to eat the foods that your body is made for. Okay. You don't eat insects, I hope, right? Do you eat bugs?
No.
Do you eat worms? I hope not. Okay. Those are for birds. Right? You're humans, right? Yes, teacher?
Yes, teacher.
Right, let's move on, okay? Who else would like to read? Go ahead, Jihei, nice and loud.
Other animals use their
Claws.
whereas
Grizzly.
grizzly bears have
Sharp.
short
Claws.
bars on their paws. But they
Design.
designed this
Let's try that again. Characteristic.
characteristics so the bear can catch its prey.
Mm-hmm.
The
Claws.
can
Grip.
slippery finish or cell open or
Rotting.
left to find
Tasty. Insects.
insects.
Very good. Now, if it's not a plant, if it's an animal, and they're looking for food, like a snake is looking for a mouse to eat, okay, that mouse for the snake, that's called prey. Let's say that, prey. Now, not this kind of prey. That's P-R-A-Y. This one in your book is P-R-E-Y. Okay, say that, prey.
Prey.
So, an animal looking for food, the animal that's hunting, he's called a predator. Say that, predator.
Predator.
But the food he finds, that's called prey. All right? So, does a grizzly bear eat the same thing as a bird?
No.
Maybe some things. Like he likes berries and birds like berries. But mostly the grizzly bear, he likes what? Let's raise our hand.
Meat.
Meat. What kind of meat? Susan?
Rabbit.
Possible. Okay. Fish. He likes fish. Now, does he go out to the river with a fishing pole
No.
and catch a fish?
Yes.
Or does he use a net?
No.
No. How does he catch fish? He's really good at it. How does he catch it? Yeah, let's raise your hand, Nudie. Yes, sharp nails or claws, okay? If you ever seen a bear's claws, they're really, really long and really sharp. And he'll wait, and he'll watch a fish go by, and really fast, he'll catch it with his claws, and he'll eat it, okay? But also, he likes to eat insects. And so he uses those big claws to open up a big piece of wood. See here? The picture of your grizzly bear? That's a log. L-O-G. That's a log. And he's wanting to open that because it's dead. And on the inside, there are many, many insects. And he will eat those insects. But he needs very, very sharp claws to open that log. So, do you have sharp claws like the grizzly bear?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to open up a log and eat the insects?
No.
No, you're not made to do that. God didn't give you those characteristics to open that. All right, let's keep going. Who else would like to read? Good. Kyujin, go ahead.
God used their beaks to get food. God gave each bird the beak it needs to get the food it eats.
Hummingbirds? Hummingbirds?
Hummingbird is on nectar, but they also is insect. The same bone, hummingbirds' lower beaks can twist and bend. This bone help the hummingbird's beak snap shut to catch insect while the
Hummingbird
is flying.
Good. Wading birds such as herons and cranes use their long pointed beaks to reach into the water to catch fish. Let's follow as I'm reading, please. Their beaks are like scissors or tongs. The great blue heron eats mostly fish, but its prey also includes frogs, snakes, turtles, and insects. So this is an example of a heron. This is a very big bird with long legs. And what's in his mouth? What is he eating? Fish. And so his mouth or beak is made specially to go into the water like a pair of scissors, kawi, and grab those fish out of the water. Okay. Now, it talks about another bird, a hummingbird. Now, this bird, the heron, and the hummingbird, you understand what a hummingbird is?
Yeah.
Okay. A hummingbird's really, really tiny. And do you know a hummingbird's eggs is smaller than the end of your finger? It's like this big. Look at the end of your pinky, right here. Right here. That's how big a hummingbird egg is. It's really tiny, isn't it? So just the end. Hold up your finger. So just the top here, that is how big a hummingbird egg is. Now, yeah, just very, very tiny. Just the end of your finger. That's a hummingbird egg size. Yes?
Teacher, I see a hummingbird on the flower.
Yes. And what is special about a hummingbird? Have you ever seen a hummingbird fly? Yes.
They have wings.
Yes, they do have wings, but what's special about their wings? Go ahead. Yes, they move so fast it looks like they're doing this. It doesn't look like they're flying, it looks like they're hovering. My grandmother, when she was living, she's in heaven now, but my grandmother loved birds, especially hummingbirds. And she would put special bird feeders with sugar water in it. And she would make the sugar water red. And the hummingbirds would come and drink the sugar water. And she would take pictures and watch the birds. She loved looking at birds, especially hummingbirds. Now, hummingbirds, what do they eat?
Sugar water.
Well, yes, they do like sugar water. What's the natural sugar water in a flower? What is that called?
Honey.
Not honey. That's what bees make. Starts with an N. It's in your book. Can you find it? Starts with an N. What does a hummingbird eat?
Nectar.
I heard it. Nectar. Let's say it. Nectar.
Nectar.
Okay, nectar is inside the flower, and yes, it is sweet. And the hummingbird has a really long, thin beak that can get inside that flower and drink that nectar. But also, their beaks, they're small, but they're strong. And so when they're flying, they can come behind an insect and catch that insect while they're flying. And their beaks are really strong, and they snap shut so they can catch that insect. Can you understand? Yes.
Are you see a hummingbird?
Have I seen a hummingbird? Yes, I have. They're really, really tiny. They're only about this big. That's not very big at all. It's a tiny, tiny bird. Yes. No, I thought you had a question. So, the heron in your book and a hummingbird, they eat two different things. So, can they have the same mouth or the same beak?
No.
No, because then they couldn't get the food that they need. See this big body on the blue heron? See how big he is? Could he only eat nectar?
No.
No, he wouldn't get what he needs for his body to grow. Well, how about this little tiny hummingbird? What if it had a big beak like the heron? Could the hummingbird fly?
No.
No. God made it special with the beak it needed to get the food it needs. Okay? Let's keep going. Finding shelter. So, food, water. What's the last one? Protection. One more time. Food, water, protection. And just a reminder, on Thursday you have a quiz over these pages. Now, we'll have a review tomorrow, but we have a quiz coming on Thursday, so you need to study pages 10 through 13, please. Finding shelter. I'll read, and then I'll call on somebody to read. So let's look at page 11. Okay. Animals need shelter as well as food. Their shelters help protect them from the weather and from animals that may want to eat them. Animals have many kinds of shelters. Moles and prairie dogs dig burrows into the ground. Birds, mice, and squirrels build nests. A hollow tree may be a home to a raccoon or a colony of bees. A cave may be a shelter for a bat or a lion. So, what are the three basic needs? Food, water,
Protection.
Now, how do you protect your body? Raise your hand. Okay, yes.
Clothes.
The clothes that we wear. Everybody's wearing clothes, right? You sure? Okay. That would be really strange if Cheon walked into the classroom with no clothes. Oh, that would be bad, right? Okay, so we protect our body with our clothes. What else can we protect our body with?
Water.
Protection.
Coat.
A coat, very good, in the wintertime when it's too cold. How about some people? Glasses. Now, some of you don't wear glasses to read or to see well, but maybe when it's really bright outside, maybe if there's a lot of sunlight, what do you put on?
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses, that's right, that protects your eyes. What's another way we can protect ourselves?
Hat.
Maybe our hat. Maybe it's really hot and you need to protect your head. Good. Yes, our house. Do you sleep outside? No. Do you sleep in a tree?
No.
Do you sleep on the rocks?
No.
Do you sleep in the water?
No.
No. You sleep where?
Hide.
In your house, in your bed. That's right. And it protects you from bad weather like rain or snow. And but animals also have protection like that. On their bodies, how do they protect themselves? Go ahead. Yes, with their fur, their hair on their body, like the grizzly bear. What's another way they protect them? Sharp teeth, that's right. Sharp claws, that's right. What is another way they can protect themselves? Go ahead. Maybe, like a snake, they have poison. They could protect themselves, yes. Oh, yes, like the porcupine with the quills. They protect themselves, yes. Okay. So another way they can protect themselves is some animals, they dig a hole. That's called a burrow. Let's say that, burrow. One more time, burrow. So an animal like, what does it say? A groundhog or a prairie dog, you see here in your picture? That's a prairie dog. This animal here, that's a prairie dog. And they live in the ground. They dig a hole. It's called a burrow. Another animal like a grizzly bear. Where does he live? A cave, that's right. How about a bird? What kind of house does he make? Or she? A nest, that's right. So each animal has its different home that protects its body. Now, can a lion live in a bird nest? No, its characteristic is different. Its body is way too big to live in a little nest. Well, would a sparrow or a hummingbird live in a cave? No, its body's not made for that. It has different characteristics. Okay, let's move on. Working together. And I said some animals, they work together in a group. If they were only by themselves, they would die. They wouldn't get their basic needs. So let's read on. I will read, and then you be ready to read. Page 12. Many living things work together to meet their needs. Some animals live in groups. Living in a group can make it easier for the animals to find food. Being in a group also provides better protection and helps the animals care for their young or babies. Who would like to read? Who hasn't read yet? Nuri, will you read, please? Thank you. Zebras?
People live in a group. When they see a lion, the zebras often form a
Semicircle.
They watch the lion carefully. If the herd has very young zebras, the
Adults.
adults form a tight
Circle.
around the
Babies.
Then the zebra moves as a group, keeping the babies in the middle. Some of the
Male.
zebra will fight with the lion in
Mm-hmm.
Speaking in a group also help zebra protect themselves at night. Some of the herd will lie down and sleep while other zebras stay
Awake.
awake, watching for
Danger.
The adult zebra usually take turns speaking on
Guard.
garden
Guard duty.
duty.
All right. So, for example, the zebra. Okay. Do they live by themselves?
No.
Just one zebra? No. Let's say that. No. No, they live in a group. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you an example how they protect themselves. So I need you very carefully. This row and this row. Come here, please. Very carefully and quickly. Okay, be very careful with the camera. Okay. So Soyoung, I'm going to have you be in the middle. Okay. And you are the rest of the zebras. I want you to come around her and make a circle. Okay. Make a circle around her. Okay. Oh, you got to connect the circle. Connect the circle. Connect the circle. Come on. Okay. All right. So this is my zebras. This is a young zebra. And these are the adult zebras. They're going to protect her. Now, I want you to pretend Hyujin, back there, is a lion. Okay. And what do lions like to eat? Yes, exactly. Or what? Zebras. They like to eat zebras. That's one kind they like to eat. They're carnivores. Now, usually they will try to find the slowest animal or the youngest when they're not protected. So if a zebra sees a lion, everybody turn. You guys turn around. Look at the lion. See, they see him, and they never quit looking at the at the lion. Okay? And they move together in a group. So 1, 2, 3, walk this way. Walk together as a group and always look at the lion. Always look. Move and walk that way. Always looking at the lion. Okay? Walking together as a group. Always looking at the lion. Okay? So walk this way now. You see how you're moving with the group? Let's keep going. Come this way. No, not too fast. You gotta protect Soyoung. Okay, don't let the lion get her. Okay, come this way. You gotta walk together. Always looking at the lion. Right? So they move together. They move together as a group, always looking for an animal that might hurt the younger ones. So the adults get in a circle when there's danger to protect the younger ones. Also, the adults help take care of the younger ones. Okay? Not just protection, but they help to find food for the younger ones. And all together, they work together to find food for everybody. Now, let's say these guys get tired, okay? And it's nighttime, and they've been watching, making sure there's no lions for 3 or 4 hours. Well, it's time to change with a new zebra. So if there's some zebras sleeping here in the circle, they will wake each other up, and they will change places. So these guys, they'll go to sleep, and the ones that are sleeping will wake up and get in this circle and watch for lions or tigers or whatever. Okay, so it doesn't attack the babies. Can you understand? All right? But they never, if they see a lion, they never stop watching the lion. And they move together, let's move together, in a group, protecting the baby. Can you understand? Yes, teacher? Thank you for helping. All right, give them a hand. Careful with the camera. All right. Let's look at the last page. Let's see if we can get the last page done. Page 13. Most animals do not live in groups. However, there are some ways animals work together. 2 different kinds of animals may form a partnership or a friendship. For example, crabs can be partners with sea anemones. Let's say that word, anemone. Okay, and I'll explain that in just a moment. For anemone hermit crabs live on the coral reefs. Follow, please. A small sea anemone may attach itself to the crab's shell. The anemone protects the crab from animals that eat it. The anemone have stinging tentacles that hurt animals that come near. They also blend with the other anemones on the reef. This disguise hides the crab from its enemies. At the same time, the crab helps the anemone get food as it moves from one place to another. Animals can also have partnerships with plants. Some flowers and insects need each other in order to survive. The flower provides food for the insects. The insects carry pollen from one flower to another as they eat. Okay, so I said organisms also have friendships or partnerships. So we had 2 animals here. Let's pay attention. Understand what a crab is?
Yes.
Understand a crab? Okay, the pinchers. All right. So sometimes the crabs, they live on the bottom of the ocean. But if they had no protection, what would happen to them? They would die or something would eat them, right? So this crab, they have what we call an anemone. It looks like a plant, but it's not a plant. It's another organism, it's another animal. And this anemone will attach itself to the crab. Okay? And so on the top of the anemone, are we listening? The top of the anemone, they have these things, they're stinging tentacles. And if a fish comes along and touches it, ouch! These tentacles hurt. Right? They sting. And it's painful for the fish. So the anemone is sitting on the crab and protecting the crab. Can you understand? Yes, teacher? Okay. But the crab then moves slowly on the floor of the ocean. So how does this help the anemone? If the crab is moving slowly, How is the anemone helped? What does the anemone get? Yeah, it's moving, but how is that helpful? What? Yes, the anemone can get food. So how is the anemone helping the crab? It's protecting it, that's right. So they work together in a friendship or a partnership. Now, there's another one. We have flowers and insects. How do they help each other? We have flowers and insects. How do they help each other? Yes. Get what? What does the insect get from the flower? Food or nectar, that's right. But why is the insect helpful for the plant or the flower? Why is that helpful? Why does the flower need an insect? Oh, did you not learn that in 3rd grade? Let me do a drawing very quickly. I drew a flower. Okay, in the middle we have this thing, right? They're called the pistil, and on this thing we have here called the stamen. We got to do this really quickly because the bell's gonna ring. And then you have an insect come over, like a bee. Okay. Okay. Here's a bee, and here's his legs. And that's 5 and 6. All right? Oh, I know the bell ring. Oh, stop. Shh. Quickly. So why is it important for the insect? The insect is getting what? Food. It's getting food. But why is it important for the plant? What's the insect doing?
Because not the flower insect is coming that bulb.
Okay, right on here, this is what we call pollen. Can we say that? Pollen.
Pollen.
And the bee comes and it sticks. The pollen sticks to their legs. And then the bee comes over to this part and puts the pollen in the middle. That way, the flower can make a new flower. Without the insect, the pollen wouldn't get up here and it couldn't make a new flower, right? But without the flower, does the bee have food? No, they work together in a partnership. Okay, let's say that, partnership. The flower needs the bee needs the flower. If there's not a bee, the flowers would die. It can't reproduce. If there's no flower, the bee cannot get the food. The bee would die. Understand? So partnership. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and pray and we'll finish up. Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you so much for what we learned. We thank you for the good listeners. Help us to understand more about organisms and what they need. We thank you that you created all these things. In Jesus' name, amen.